What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of All Things Super. I am one of your hosts, Spider, and I am joined by Mr. VIP Frankie Washington. How you doing today, sir?
I am infinitely awesome. Thank you for asking. Woo. Woo. It's getting chilly in here.
Is it?
Well, yeah. Why would I say it? You know what, dude?
Look, man, you start saying.
Why would I say? I should say, "Oh, it's getting chilly." Really? Why would I say it?
I am always expecting whatever you're saying to be a setup for something else, and I didn't know where you were going with it, so I don't know what's happening with you right now.
What are you talking about? Okay. This is what happens when you think out loud. See, I'm gonna go ahead and keep my thoughts to myself.
But if you didn't know, this is All Things Super, where every week we take a piece of superpower, TV, movie, even trailers. We watch them, we react to them, we break them down, we review them, and we answer the question, is it super?
Is it?
Is it? We'll find out. Quite possibly. Quite possibly. I feel like we've had a pretty good streak we've been doing a lot of TV shows lately. Not so many movies, just this past month. But I feel like a lot of the TV episodes that we've been reviewing lately have been super. So we've been on a good streak of superness. So I'm happy about that.
Well, remember we had a conversation about all good things must come to an end.
We'll see.
They got something coming out that's
potentially questionable. Potentially questionable.
Wait till those episodes hit. Who knows where this conversation is gonna go? Welcome to the show.
But until we get to that point, if you like this channel, go ahead and give us a subscribe. Just hit that subscribe button, but also hit the notification bell so you can be notified when we have new episodes. But if you want the audio version, search for All Things Super on, your favorite podcast streaming platform. And if you want to join in on the conversation, you can just by tweeting at us at ATSuperPod. All those fun ways.
And we like to read the comments.
And we like reading the comments. So remember, leave those comments. But for this episode, we are talking about House of the Dragon, episode 7 and episode 8.
We merged them, put them together like with
Tesseract
a rainbow inside.
One solid block. You don't put the Tesseract together.
First of all, have you been inside a Tesseract?
No.
Do you know anybody that been inside a Tesseract?
Yes.
Thank you for recognizing. So we got dragons.
We got dragons in a major way.
So that's it. That's all I can tell you without hitting a spoiler alert. So get it ready for it. 5, 4, 3, 2. You lost track of the numbers. I saw you. You're watching the hand instead of hearing the voice. That is your official spoiler warning. If you don't get yourself to the other side of the street, get out of the way. We're about to talk about HBO House of the Dragons. And listen, if you ain't seen the episode and you watching us, clearly you like us. So you know what we do. So we're about to do it. There it is. They've been won. I don't know. This show is, if nothing else, is authentic.
That is true.
Every episode is different.
Every episode is different. That is the God's honest truth. But
I stand on that.
But episode 7 is titled Driftmark. Of course, we start off with Lena's funeral. Lena, as we remember at the end of episode 6, she had a dragon rider's death. She had her dragon Vagar just burn her alive because she didn't want to suffer the pains of what she was going through when she was trying to have her child. But so we start off episode 7 with Lena's funeral, and this is the first time that all of our main players in the House of the Dragon have come back together. We have Viserys, we have Alicent, we have Daemon, we have Rhaenyra, we have Laenor, we have Kristen Cole. Everybody's back into a single place for the first time in 10 years at this point, because this is right after Rhaenyra has her third child, Joffrey. And so Daemon's back. Daemon and Viserys, they reconcile. Viserys asks Daemon to come home. Viserys just wants his brother back home. He's like, look, I know I kicked you out 10 years ago. It was a long time ago. That's old news. It's like, come back home.
Ago, man.
Right.
Nobody worrying about all that. You did what you did. You know what you did. And, let's come on. We family.
So Daemon, oh, family. But so Daemon is like, you know what? I don't want no part of that. I forgot the place that he was living.
Dragonstone?
No, not Dragonstone. Because remember, they went to that other city where the people wanted to pay them to stay there to keep the dragons to keep them safe.
I remember that, but I forgot the name. Sorry.
I know it started with a P, and I can't remember what the name of it was.
You got the letter
Pentos.
right.
Pentos. That's the name of it.
I
Pentos.
knew it. I never doubted you. I never doubted the whole time. I was like, you go get it.
So Daemon basically said, Pentos is my home now. And so while they're at the sort of, we could call it a repast, because I don't think there's really any other name for it, but it's a social gathering after the funeral. So while
that's what we know it as, right?
Right, that's what we know it as.
They might have called it something else.
I don't know if they whatever they called it differently.
World. This is a book, right? This is okay.
Right. But so while they're at that social gathering, they hear Vhagar sort of shouting in the distance, which leads Aemond, who is the second son of Alicent, to because he's still bitter because he doesn't have a dragon. Aegon has a dragon, Jacaerys has a dragon, Viserys has a dragon, and then Daemon's oldest daughter, who is Baela. Baela also has a dragon. And so
I mean, come on. Everybody got a dragon. I can't have a dragon. I'm gonna feel some kind of way too, right?
Right.
I want a dragon. Everybody got a dragon. Oh, everybody go fly. Everybody go ride bikes. I can't ride my bike with the crew.
Everybody got a
go
bike.
Skateboard. I don't have a skateboard.
Right. But so we see that there is.
Hey, you want your own dragon.
Right. But we see that there's obvious tension between everybody at this event. Alicent and Rhaenyra, they're shooting daggers at each other across the room. Kristen is looking at Rhaenyra and just like, looking at Rhaenyra's side eye.
No,
you want me to be your whore.
He want that old thing back. He just mad he can't get it. I'm just saying what it is. So I'm just gonna throw it out there.
He's still mad.
You played your hand, dude. You played your hand. And that's sad because you played your hand, dude. That's what it is. And
so
shouldn't have been that hard. You moved on and pop them off. Pop it off.
And so we know that Otto's the hand again, and Larys, who is Sir Harwin Strong's brother, he's now the Lord of Harrenhal. He's back there. He's slinking about. He's skulking around, trying to keep his eye on everything. Like because that's the way he stands. I'm sorry. The dude stands with a hunch.
Do have an affliction, man. Why do you keep going? This is horrible. Dude. He can't help that.
All I'm saying is that's how he stands.
This guy here.
But whatever. There's obvious tension between everybody. There's a good long, I don't know how long the scene went on, but it was just a good long, just like stint of nobody talking to anybody other than Rhaenyra trying to get her sons to sort of, comfort their cousins. Like they just lost their mom. They need a friend. They need somebody. And so
somebody to lean on.
Right. And so I want to say it was Jace, her middle son, went over to sort of comfort them, and he was kind of standing off, not really knowing what to do. And so Baela was the one that reached out and grabbed his hands, like, I understand what you're doing. You don't have to say anything, but I appreciate you being here. Aemon comes over. Aemon is like, I kind of want to comfort you, but they have that beef. The two second sons, they have that beef. But that's when we hear Vhagar roaring, so everybody kind of looks up and they see Vhagar's like above the clouds. So we get into these other conversations and everything. Rhaenyra and Daemon end up reconciling. They're getting together. They have a conversation. Also, Luke, Rhaenyra's oldest, who knows that Laenor is not his father, he says to Rhaenyra, he's like, we shouldn't be here. We should be at Harrenhal. Because he's like, I know my father is dead. And we should be there mourning him. And Rhaenyra's basically like, look, you are a Targaryen. This is our family. This is where we're going to be. And if we were at Harrenhal, that would raise a lot of eyebrows. That would put a lot of eyes on us. Like, why y'all over here? Y'all ain't got nothing to do with this. She's still trying to maintain this whole deception that these boys are Valyrian, which they are clearly not.
Well,
So
they're half Valyrian.
no, they're half Targaryen. They're half Targaryen, half strong.
Yeah, that's true.
And so, but Rhaenyra tells them, like, no, and we get into all of this. We get into a lot of different conversations where Corlys goes to Jacaerys and is basically saying that you're going to be the heir to Driftmark. And Jacaerys is like, I don't want to be the Lord of Driftmark. And Corlys, it's so innocent.
Jon Snow moment.
It's such an innocent thing because these young children are having to deal with all of this death now. And so he says, I don't want it because if I'm the Lord of Driftmark, that means that all of my family is dead. That means that everybody who is still before me, they all have to die in order for me to take this seat on this throne. And that's not what I want. I don't want my family to die, which is like such an honest thing for a child to say. So we get to later on in the evening in an extremely dark scene, like dark not in mood, but dark as in lighting, where Rhaenyra and Daemon are walking on the beach. Did you not think that scene was like way too dark?
Yeah, it was darky. It was dusty. It was. I didn't understand it.
You got a better TV than I do.
Well, I don't know about that part, but it gave me off-planet vibes versus. I felt like we on. Yeah, well, I felt like we were on like any made-up name. Like you could give a planet. And I'm not sure why they chose that filter, but I understand what they were going for. It's decisions made in the dark or in the gray.
They were doing the same thing because Jordan Peele came out at the Toronto International Film Festival and kind of gave his sort of his process and what he did for Nope and how he filmed like a lot of the scenes. The night scenes were filmed during the day, but the way that they used their camera tricks, they made it appear as if it were nighttime. And so this is the same thing that they did for House of the Dragon, but I don't know, like maybe they didn't balance their colors right, or I don't know what they did when they made that transfer. But yeah, the scene was like really extra dark. It was a little bit too dark. And without like closed captioning, it's kind of hard to be able to make out what the characters were saying.
Well, even at that point, they were speaking in
High Valyrian.
High Valyrian.
Yeah.
I was just going to give them normal Valyrian. How dare I take away that high? I should know that you want to be high when you're speaking Valyrian. So
I can say all of that.
That's the only way I'm going to speak it because I don't know what they'd say. I need the captions. So at the same time, it was dark. I didn't understand the choice, but I respected that they made it, and it didn't totally throw me out the story, but I was curious about it.
Yeah.
But we keep it pretty pretty real on this show.
Pretty real.
Well, it's real on my side. It's real. I can't speak to your side. Okay, I'm just saying.
Man's out here calling me a liar.
I didn't say that. I didn't say that part at all. But that's what you heard.
So David.
No, here's what I want to say.
Yeah,
Here's what I want to say. This show is showing its Achilles heel. Now, I want to preference by saying this. I am a fan of the show. Mm-hmm. I am a fan of the series. I was a fan of the original. Once I finally sit down and was able to watch it in a large setting, like 2 or 3 episodes, because Throne starts off slow. They didn't play around with this one. They brought you in immediately. I love the show. Just want to go ahead and say that I'm a big fan. Can't wait to see where else it goes. The one thing that annoys me now is because, and I spoke about this last time we talked about it, are these time jumps.
Right.
Because I feel like there's a lot of good meat that we could digest in between. It seems like we're in a rush to get to, are we going to, by the end of Dragons, are we going to encapsulate everything that leads up to Thrones is the question that I'm saying. I know that things that's coming, and right now we're unprepared, 100%. We're bickering, and the war of the code is coming, which we got reminded of since we got to this point. And I don't want to jump ahead, but that's going to happen. And anybody that watched Thrones knew it was going to happen because it happened. And we didn't know that it happened on a cycle. What planet is this? You know, it's a book, right? It's not reality. But what I'm saying is, or maybe it is on a different planet. That's trippy. There are dragons.
There are dragons. Could
different
quite
reality,
possibly,
right?
Yeah.
In the multiverse of all things, so this place exists, theoretically. Anyway, the point of what I'm saying is they're doing everything that they can and pushing the boundaries and the limitations, and I'm loving it. But these time jumps, I think we're in a rush to get somewhere when I'm really enjoying the episodes and want to see how those dynamics kind of play out, because some things don't make sense in the spirit of, you guys really haven't talked about this at all, y'all. And they did better with it this time leading up to the latest episode, because Rhaenyra moved. So she wasn't even in King's Landing anymore. So I can understand, I'm not going to send a crow. I'm not going to send a message that way. I'm not even thinking about you. I'm over it. I could be better. I could be in my castle while you're in your castle. We don't ever have to talk again. So that explained it. But beforehand, they were in the same castle. Mm-hmm. So some conversations would have been had. And it just feels like, how long are we going to carry this beef? Because you clearly see the king, he ain't doing well. And we can't come together on this common ground, which, again, in the later episodes, they pay that off, because you see they do kind of come together on the common ground, because the king, woo, he ain't looking so hot. He ain't looking like he got long for the world, because he's starting to rot. It's like he's rotting away from the inside. Spider, did I lose you?
No, I'm listening to what you're saying.
You shook up because of the king, right?
No,
that's what it is.
Not, like, because I already knew that the king was going to die. I told you that.
Killed this man.
I'm like, he's not making it to the end of the season.
Shout out to the king, because kings hold on. Kings stay strong, baby.
Yeah,
all the kings keep your head up.
Until the end of the episode 8, spoiler alert.
Well, hey, he done cheated death so many times. I wouldn't be surprised if King Hilarious was a skeleton talking about, y'all get this shit together.
I mean, he halfway was there.
Right? Shout out to the props team for making that happen. Because I was like, go ahead and put your put your go ahead and put that back on. Put your mask back on, because and we eating, man.
Right,
You can't just rub that.
nobody want to see Grandpa empty eye socket at the table while we're trying to have dinner.
It's uncomfortable. I'm trying to eat. Like, that's not cool. You're the king. You know better than that. But he made a point to say, look at me. I don't have long for this world. And the only thing I'm asking for y'all is to get it together as a family, Toretto.
All right. But we're jumping ahead.
Oh, I said I might be, so don't be mad at me.
But so Rhaenyra and Daemon having their little moonlit walk on the beach. They're talking about how they're mourning for each other.
Is that what we're going with? We're going with moonlit? Is that what it is? Give me the moonlit filter. Which one is it? I don't know. Get that black one.
Get the black one. Get that dark blue one. But so
and they probably turned around and was like, what?
Pretty much.
Roll with it. HBO's not. We're late.
But they're basically kind of commiserating to each other how they both lost, they both lost the person that they cared about because
we call this.
Rhaenyra even asked Daemon, she said, did you love her? And he said, we were happy enough. So, there's no...
Typical bad boy response,
Right. Typical Daemon Targaryen response. There was no disillusionment that, Daemon was head over heels in love with Lena or anything like that. But Rhaenyra confesses and confides into Daemon, said, I needed you. You weren't there for me. You left me. Basically, if you were here, I wouldn't have fallen into, all of this. I would have been able to, basically just saying that I needed your guidance. You were able to guide me, and I need you now, just like I needed you then. They end up having sex on the beach. While they're doing that...
The drink?
No, not the drink.
Oh, okay.
Not the drink. I want to make that perfectly clear. Not the drink. But so while they're doing that, Aemon goes searching for Vhagar because he knows that Vhagar is somewhere in the vicinity. And so he finds Vhagar sleeping in the sand, and he goes to attempt to ride Vhagar. And after some attempts, he gets Vhagar to calm down. He climbs on top of Vhagar and commands Vhagar to fly. This is a huge dragon, the biggest dragon that there is.
Well, let's not just downplay this, okay? I like how you just skate through this situation like this little child wasn't about to die.
I hadn't got to that part yet.
He put it all on the line. He was like, you know what? I'm about to get mine, and I'm ready to die for it. Because he was like,
Vhagar was about to torch this child.
And blow a puff of smoke and go back to sleep. Like, I'm a boss, real boss. Like, what did you want? What, boy? I'm already emotionally dealing with something right now. I had to slay my own rider. You know how personal that is? First of all, save the dragons, okay? I'm going to start a hashtag immediately to save the dragons. It's a t-shirt. We're taking donations right now.
Okay.
T-shirt. Say to that. So what I'm saying is because the dragons are emotionally involved in their rider, he had to sacrifice his own rider. Think about it, if a puppy lost her owner, and that puppy experiencing the loss of that owner, and that owner is not there, and then the puppy is out to the street. That's why they should get rescues, man.
I mean,
rescue dragons. Save the dragons.
If a puppy kills the owner, they be quick to try to put the puppy down.
Hey, man.
I'm just saying this is how the world works.
No one should be murdering puppies out here, okay?
They don't know what should be murdering puppies.
It's not nice.
And puppies shouldn't be setting their owners on fire, so...
That was emotional for Vhagar the Dragon. And so now you see this little squirt come up here talking about, I'm about to ride you. Boy, if you don't get out of here, I can burn you real quick. And then he thought about it, I guess I have to deal with your parents, and then I got to run and worry about spears. And all right, let's see where this goes. And he mounts him.
Mm-hmm.
and like a old wise dragon. What's that? What's the one? What's that story? Where they riding the other dragon, the mystical one, the white one. One looks like a dog. Full circle. Don't make me reference.
You
looking
talking
at me
about
like
the never-ending story?
I was just waiting for you to say it. Look how we do work, y'all. We spontaneous with it.
Wasn't a dragon though.
Hagar was a dragon.
No, Vagar is a dragon, but Falcor in a never-ending story.
Falcor was a dragon.
Was he a dragon?
It's based off the Chinese dragon.
All right.
Oh my! Are we watching the same movie? Look it up.
I was.
Look
we're talking about House of the Dragon. I want to get through this.
It's a dragon.
I'm not disagreeing with you. I am mistaken.
It's in the same vein. It's a dragon. We're talking about dragons. That's a dragon. So I'm just saying this. It was giving those vibes. That's the vibe I got.
Gotcha.
When he mounted the dragon. See, I know it's all connected, like a multiverse. Come multiverse hop with us. So I don't want to jump ahead again. So go ahead and put us back on track.
Okay.
But some of this,
like you were saying, Aemon mounts Vagar, and Vagar, like we said, is massive, the largest dragon that there is. And so he shakes some sand off himself, almost shakes Aegon off of himself. He flies straight up. Aegon is holding on for dear fucking life.
Oh my God, you would have fell off that dragon.
But he eventually steadies himself. He gains control. He becomes Vagar's new rider. He claims that.
I was waiting for him to pull out his ponytail and okay. It didn't happen, but I was looking for it to happen. But all right.
So now that he has this newfound confidence, his balls was dropped. Aegon came back. He's a badass now. He
chest wide.
So Baela and Rhaena, they wake up because they hear Vagar, who was their mother's dragon, and so they're thinking somebody's trying to steal Vagar. So they go wake up Luke and Jace, and so they're going to investigate who had the dragon. Aemon comes in, just swag. just strutting, goes in, and Baela comes in. It was you. He's like, it's me. Just cocky. Just cocky, right? And so they're like, that was my mother's dragon. He's like, well, your mother's dead. It's like, this was supposed to be my claim. Well, you should have claimed it then. Just so bold and so disrespectful. So the boys try to stand up for their cousin. Jace and Luke try to stand up for their cousin. They, bow up to Aemon. Aemon is like, get out my face. You don't want this smoke. So he goes into just straight ass-kicking mode and starts beating down all of it. Well, Baela first goes and punches him in the face. And then he slaps her. And then that's when the whole fight breaks out.
And that's when you seen that he not only want the smoke, he got a smokehouse. Let's go.
So Aemon is he's throwing the girls off of him. He's beating up the boys. He knocks down Jace, and he's basically about to beat him. He's about to fucking bash his brains in with a rock. And so he calls him a bastard. He said that you should have burned in flames with your father. Jacaerys, who is still under the delusion that Laenor is his dad, he's like, my father's still alive. And so Aemon is like, well, he must not know that, you both are bastards. And so when he says that, he's getting ready to basically bash Jace's head in. Jace pulls a fucking Dale Gribble pocket sand and throws it in his face. And so after Aemon's blinded, Luke has a dagger. Luke
comes from underneath with that yeah.
Swipes straight up, slashes Eamon's
like a credit
eye.
card.
Damn.
It was a deduction of sight. I can guarantee you that charge is non-refundable.
So now Eamon's lost an eye. The guards come out, break them all up. They bring them to the king's room, and there's like, oh, you know what's going on. Everybody comes into the room. And it's so funny because Damon does what Damon does. Damon strolls in after everybody else, just leans up against the door. It's just like, watch this.
See how this plays out.
Exactly. So Allison is pissed. Viserys is upset, and he's trying to figure out exactly what's going on. Why were they fighting? And so Rhaenyra says that there were insults hurled at Jacaerys and Luke, and so they have to say without saying what those insults were. And so so Rhaenyra is like, well, he was questioning the legitimacy of my son's birth. So Viserys is like, where did you hear this? He's asking Aemon, where did you hear this? Aemon, and it's always the looks. They do so well in the show with the looks, just following people's eyes. So Aemon for a second looks at Alicent, and you can see Alicent kind of panic, like, oh shit, if he rats me out, Viserys is gonna I'm going to lose whatever leverage I have on Viserys. And so right before
because he's told her never speak of this again.
Right.
He has made that known as king and her man.
Yeah. And so before Aemon can say anything, she says, well, where's Laenor? Where's their father? She's trying to put it back on Rhaenyra. And Laenor, who we saw earlier in the episode, is visibly distraught because he lost his sister. He was in the water about to let the waves take him out to sea because he's just so broken. And so, and so Viserys, shush. He's like, I don't want to hear this. He goes back to Aemon. He's like, as your king, I demand answers. Who told you this? So Aemon says, Aegon told me, the older brother. So Viserys says, well, who did you hear it from? And Aegon, as rebellious as he's been, kind of one not to, really care about the throne, really care about anybody else besides himself at this point. He just basically, he doesn't out his mother either, but he says, Father, we can see. Everyone can see. He's basically saying, you're asking who's telling me this. Nobody has to tell me this. We can look at this. We can look at them and tell that they're not Valyrian. They're not of, the blood that they say they are.
Just because they don't have the signature hair. What if they transform later on like a Dragon Ball Z character and just level up and the hair change to silver?
But even that, even on top of the book, right? Even on top of that, obviously, House Valyrian, they're of an African American descent. Now, Laena and Laenor are mixed because Rhaenys is white, Corlys is black, so they're mixed. And how genetics work? Yeah, you could possibly have a white child, but three of them, at some point they look some kind of mix. We see
they ain't have science back then.
True, but that's why nobody can really prove it. They didn't have Maury. Maury couldn't do a DNA test, a paternity test.
He'll be a gazillionaire if he was back then, all the way to now.
But we see even with Daemon and Laena's children, with Baela and Rhaena, they're obviously of a mixed skin tone. So they're arguing.
Thank you for explaining that to people that probably didn't know that either, because they probably like, yeah, how they know? And you just broke it down for them.
Yeah, well,
scientifically, in a sense,
the least scientific way possible.
I mean, keep it simple.
But so we get into a whole bunch of arguing, and So Allison has said, this isn't enough. And, Viserys is basically saying, I want you all to stop your family, stop all this arguing, stop this bickering. Allison said that this is not enough. Her son took my son's eye, so I need repayment.
An eye for an eye.
She talks to
soul for a soul.
She tells Sir Kristen. She said, Sir Kristen, I demand you take the eye of Lucerys Velaryon. And Kristen was like, you want me to do what?
She wild.
So she didn't move, and so the Viserys is like, no, don't do anything. Allison is getting enraged, like, you are bound to me. And even Kristen was like, as your protector only, though.
Yeah, like, you wild. You want me to just cut a kid in the face?
Right.
Like, come on, Queen, you wilding right now. Just your husband right
here. And so Allison is like, you know what? Fuck this. If y'all ain't gonna do it, I'm gonna do it myself. She pulls out the king's dagger.
Yeah.
And goes running to cut Luke in the face. Allison is running at her. Rhaenyra jumps in. Kristen is ready to go and break them up. Daemon comes out from the back, stops Kristen, is like, you don't want this. Stay back. And so
smokehouse, brisket, ribs, beef, pork, all of it, sausages. He has a smokehouse. He wants to smoke.
And so the lines are visibly drawn. So Allison and Rhaenyra have their final little argument, and Rhaenyra is like, finally, they can see you as you are. Like, you are not this, like, put together queen that you portray yourself to be. And so in the midst of them breaking up, Allison cuts Rhaenyra on the arm. And so we see that they're all broken up now. We have Allison, her father, her kids on her side. We have Rhaenyra, her kids, and Daemon and Corlys on their side. Because Corlys has a conversation with Rhaenys earlier in the episode where Rhaenys is basically saying, these kids are not Valyrian. They don't have Valyrian blood. They're not pure Valyrian blood. So I want the throne to go to Baela. No, to Rhaena.
Mm-hmm.
Because they're skipping over Laenor, because Laenor is obviously going to take Rhaenyra's side, and he's going to be with Rhaenyra, and she's going to be the heir, so he's going to be her king's consort. So they want Rhaenys wants the throne of Driftmark to go over Laenor, go over Luke, and go straight to Rhaena. And Corlys said no. And Rhaenys is like, you can visibly see that they are not of Valyrian blood. And Corlys says, history does not remember blood. History remembers names. And they are Valyrian by name. And they will be Valyrian on the throne. And he said, I don't want to hear anything else of the matter. And so he leaves. And so we can see that he's clearly on Rhaenyra's side.
He's like, what is a life without legacy?
Right.
True to his heart. Just listen, we trying to get representation up in here, man. We trying to, you can't just be writing history and not having my name in it. Here he is, right here. Right. All things super.
And so we wrap up the episode a little bit. So we wrap up the episode again. Lines are drawn, sides are chosen, but Aegon says,
"Did you see how they framed it though?
Yeah.
When the blood was drawn, you did get a depiction of who's on this side, who's on this side. In case you're not clear, the lines have been drawn, and the game is on because poor King holding on, but he can't hold on forever."
No,
and we're going to see the aftermath of what happens when it splatters, because once he go to the upper room, Valhalla,
wherever
he's going. Well, it's Viking, right? It's
Is
Viking-ish.
it? I mean, it's
It's
Viking-ish, but I don't know if they're.
they have water pirates, right?
Yeah, I guess.
Yeah. I believe they confirmed that they have pirates on the seas. So it's pirates, it's Vikings, it's knights, it's
Yep.
freemen and seamen. Okay. So anyway, well, the point
You
of what I'm
you
saying,
walked into that room by
what?
yourself.
And I came out immediately because it's disgusting. It's just nasty. I need a shower right now. The point of what I'm saying is a lot's going on and the lines are drawn. And you see even what's his name? The one that got Agar?
Oh, Aemon.
Aemon said, it's okay.
I may have lost an eye.
I may have lost an eye, but I gained a dragon, and he got a lot more out of the deal than
Than what he lost.
what he lost, because you not only have the best bike out here, it's the top of the line.
Right.
It got some miles on it, but it's still got a lot of fire inside of it, and you will respect it. You will respect its rider. And like you said, he bowled up and he got a reality check. He went from small and weak and pipsqueak to you might not want to check me. Right. He looks like a Nick Fury assassin. Because
I want to talk about what the actor that they played to pick him or to portray him in the next episode. So before we get to that, there are two more things for episode 7. So we get a scene with Otto and Alicent. Otto is basically like, you have to compose yourself. Like, you can't, be rageful in this game that we're playing. Otto is playing this calculated game, but he finally understands, he finally realizes, and he tells Alicent, he's like, I didn't think that you had it in you. I didn't to play this game, but obviously I see that you are more.
Things have changed, Dad. It's not the same girl that you left. We grew up, we handle things. It's an independent woman type of situation. You expect me to be in the same spot, but we moved on, and she's clearly playing to win. But we saw that he didn't see it. Well, we saw that already when she was talking to her son when he was jazzing himself out the window.
Yeah.
Playing the toot horn. She's trying to instill in him tradition and instill in him that you're supposed to be taking it upon yourself to be king. And as he said himself, as a youngster, that he didn't want it.
Right.
But you see these guys that, again, in this time period that we don't see off screen, more of that's going on because the shift has gone from not wanting it to I'm about to take it.
Right.
Do we have a king killer in a mix? I don't know. I feel like because they're staying so close to the books that they might spin it and take it in another direction. Which
I feel like people will be upset if they deviate from the actual story.
This is why the MCU, and yes, I'm cross-versing universes. This is what I do.
Stop referencing the MCU in every episode.
Have I done it in every episode?
Between the two of us, we have.
Well, here's another one. So in the MCU, you got all these storylines going on at the same time. Listen, I feel bad about what I just said.
You started down this path.
And I'll continue my journey. So, listen, the lines are drawn. We see he gained a dragon. It's a win.
Yeah.
It's a win for me. It's a win. And I don't know. Well, Rhaenyra has Daemon now, and that's a wild card.
And so that was the last part that I wanted to
provoking wild card.
The last part of this episode that I want to get into is that Rhaenyra finally says to Daemon, she's like, we need to get married because you and I together there's nothing that we can't do. There's nothing where we can't accomplish. We'll be a formidable pair against Alicent because now they're building strength. They have another dragon. You know, she's in the ear of the king. She's going to butter him up. She's going to get back on his good side, and she's going to use that to her advantage. So we need some strength on our side. And Daemon clearly says, he just plainly says, we can't get married unless Laenor is dead. And so he orchestrates this whole thing. He goes up to I think it was Sir Carl, who's Laenor's new lover. And this is after Laenor comes back and it's like, I should have been there. I mean, I wasn't there for my family. I should have been around. But Rhaenyra has this great line where he says, he says, I should have been there. She's like, that should be our family's, our house motto. It's just basically because there's always a situation. It was like, should have been there, just missed out. But so Daemon goes to Sir Carl and basically gives him some money. Is like, look, you hop on this boat. There's this town. They don't care who you are. They don't worry about names. They don't ask anything. As long as you got money. You're good. Nobody's gonna bother you. So Sir Carl goes into the I don't know, the seating room or whatever it is, and he picks a fight with Laenor. And while they're fighting, the little the dude, I don't know, I guess his squire or whatever, goes run off. He's like, I'm going to get help. And so they're fighting and everything. They come back. Rhaenys and Corlys come in there, and dude is just laying in the fire, and all you can really see is the bottom half of the body, and it's Laenor's legs, and top half of the head is just burnt to a crisp.
Ain't no science back then.
Ain't no science. Ain't no forensics. Ain't no dental extraction. So
nope.
They take.
I say back then, it might be in the future. Who knows?
Possibly, wherever they are. There's no science.
There are dragons there.
There's no modern science, I should say, because they got their little morning after tea. So that's a little some kind of.
It's on already. It is on already. Oh, they got that thing on standby. It's just there's a lot of tea. You need to be a tea broker back then, baby.
Right.
In the future.
But so they perceive that to be Laenor dead in the fire. And so that puts Sir Carl on the run because Sir Carl was the one that was seen fighting them. But we see at the end of the episode, they're pushing the boat into the sea. They hop into the boat. Who takes off of their hood? But Laenor. So Laenor and Carl have survived, and now they're running away. And then shave the head. And shave the head. Yeah. He's like, look, I'm gonna take this is identifying mark of mine. So I got to get rid of it. But so that brings us to episode 8. Now between episode 6 and 7, there wasn't.
Wait a minute.
Okay.
Again, I want to bring this up because if you guys are noticing, we're keeping Daemon. I know we talked about this already. We're keeping him at that fine line.
Oh, and I didn't even mention
hero.
Rhaenyra and Daemon get married.
Yeah. Well, again, they clearly saw the show. They're just waiting for us to talk about it.
Right.
That's why they're here. I believe that wholeheartedly now. That's why you guys are here, because of us. But they keeping them in this tight anti-hero trope.
Yeah.
He does just enough to defend. He does enough to protect. He's only killing people that kind of deserve to be killed. You know what I mean? He's not really killing anybody out of. You're going to root for him when he's going to fight Sir Christian.
The guy that he killed for them to have a body to stand in for Laenor, did he deserve to die? But because David really just came up behind him, choked him out, snapped that neck, and that was it.
Bigger picture, my friend.
I'm just saying. This
is the mission. I need a body, and he clearly doesn't. He doesn't value.
He doesn't kill without purpose.
There you go. See that you're understanding what I'm saying, and everything is thought out and methodical.
Yes, very
He's a thinking man. that's why, like you said, he comes in, he sit back, he listens.
He watches, he
When you,
observes, he listens,
when
he
you see
calculates.
Damon doing non-flying things, he's normally reading a book. He's reading. He's very smart.
Yeah.
And he cares about the things that he cares about, and he's going to defend what he cares about. So he is a wild card. Not only he's going to kill the people that count. He's not going to just full on straight attack you, though he has that capability. He'll probably take down your defenses first, make you run up into a corner and isolate you, and then go in for the kill. Why do I say that? Because that's exactly what he did with the Crab King.
Mm-hmm.
Crab Meat King.
Crab feeder.
Butter. So I'll tell you what, a little garlic butter. The point of what I'm saying is watch him. He's worth watching, because you're not sure will he'll pop up and does what he do, which is the Damon Thug special, I guess.
He had a Thug special in episode 8.
Yeah, he did. But you won't be using those words anymore. With the tongue that you kept.
So Damon and Rhaenyra get married. They are wed now, and they had their secret little wedding with just the kids there. And a maester sort of to make it a blood wedding. Just a lot of blood swapping.
Ew.
I mean, that's what it was.
How's your Hulk out? So I don't know, man.
But so in between episodes 6 and 7, there was no time jump, because this was right after Lena had died. That they had the funeral. But so between episode 7 and 8, they immediately say 6 years have passed.
Yeah, God damn it, man.
So they went from no time jump to a 6-year time jump. Excuse me. So now kids are a little bit older, adults are a little bit older.
Yeah, they are.
So we get into
that season of hate kind of like set into the meat. Like, I despise you so much because of the history that we have. It's like,
So it all starts off. Corlys is wounded in the Stepstones. There's still fighting going on in the Stepstones. Corlys gets wounded, and they think that he may not make it. So if in the event that he dies, we need to make sure that we have an heir named to the Driftmark throne. Vaemon, who is Corlys's brother, comes in. He's like, look, I'm the second son. If anybody's going to be heir to the throne, it should be me. It's not going to go to Luke, because Luke's not Vandarian. I'm making sure that my bloodline is maintained. He goes to Rhaenys, who now has taken Baela from Daemon, and basically said that, look, if you're going to marry, obviously y'all had something to do with my son dying. Because he died and y'all went and ran and got married. So I ain't sure about all that. Y'all had something to do with this. So I'm going to take my granddaughter. I'm going to raise her to keep her out of y'all little evil scheme.
Whatever that is. I don't even know what y'all doing. I don't even want no part of it, because she said she was done playing that nonsense a long time ago. She has come to terms with not being the queen and living her best life. Exactly. She's still rich. She's still a princess. She still got money. She got servants. She got a kingdom. She ain't lacking nothing. I want y'all to know something. She's not sitting in a position of, just because she ain't in the race to get to the Iron Throne. That shit poisonous. You don't see what it's doing to the king? Nobody was sitting
Except Otto. Otto wants to sit. Otto was ready to sit on that throne.
I was like, You better watch yourself.
I was like, look, I want you to. He went to the tailor, like, look, I want you to just like give me some extra padding in the back, like on the back of the sleeves. Any
what the
part that's
assignment
going
is.
right, any part that comes in contact with the throne, I want you to kind of like take and reinforce that. Reinforce the elbow pads.
That shit is poisonous, man. That shit is I wouldn't want to say. Now, I love how they describe the throne. And for those who don't know this part, it's made to be uncomfortable as a reminder psychologically to the king not to get comfortable in your position of rule. So it's supposed to kind of, all right. It's supposed to be uncomfortable. Clearly,
and it's supposed to cut you to shreds, though.
Clearly, Valerius done got too soft, and that shit done ate him alive, and he can't stop sitting in it. He addicted to it. You already lost fingers, and oh my god,
lost an arm, lost an eye.
Leeches has always done your grace.
Leeches ain't do him no good, but that macer is gone though. But so Vayman Vayman goes to Rhaenys and like, look, he's trying to plead his case. Like, look, I'm going to petition to the king that I should be the heir to the throne. And Rhaenys was like, I am not trying to stop you, but I already know I'm standing by what my husband said. My husband said that Luke is going to be heir to the throne. So Vayman
said what he said when he was here.
Vayman heads off. Right. Vayman heads off to King Landon. And also I
feel like he did the George Jefferson walk when he was going to King Landon. Like, I'm gonna set this shit straight. I'm gonna get this. This is about to be my year. Right.
But so since Baylor was in the room, Baylor sends a raven to Dragonstone, notifies her father, notifies Rhaenyra, and lets them know Vayman is going to King's Landing. He's questioning the legitimacy of Lucerys. He's gonna petition for the throne of Driftmark. So they see that.
Setting those ravens, right? That's not a. You can't just, that costs money.
Yeah.
Ravens. Now let me take the trainer raven to go exactly right.
So, you're not wrong.
Expensive.
You're not wrong. But so Rhaenyra and Daemon like, well, I guess we got to go to Dragonstone. We got to go to King's Landing then. And so they pack up, they head out to King's Landing, they arrive, they look, and they already see that everything's changed. They are now stone stars of the seven gods. This is Alicent's religion. This is something that was not in the castle. It wasn't prevalent in the castle. Because remember, before in the castle, it was like tapestries of naked women and just orgies and sex and all this other kind of stuff, and all of like curtains and all the walls and all this other kind of stuff. All of that stuff's been taken down.
Like my time at the place.
So all of that stuff's been taken down. All of the activity that had been happening in the halls is just like, it's a lot quieter now. There's not a lot going on. And so Rhaenyra's like, I would like to say it's nice to be home, but I don't really recognize the place. And so Alicent is at a council meeting and being bored to death by this man talking about whatever it is he's talking about.
Well, you think about it, she never wanted that. She never wanted that life.
But even Otto was sitting up there falling asleep.
He was gone. Totally uninterested. But here's the thing about it, though. Here's the thing. Mm-hmm. The conflict is what makes the wheels turn.
Right.
Meta commentary included, but at the same time, it's like, now you have no one to have friction with.
Right.
This will be your regular day-to-day.
Yeah. And this is the stuff that Viserys had to deal with.
So let that sink in, psychology. Just let's think about that for a moment, because this will be your normal everyday.
Right. This is what you. This is what you. right. This is what you're trying to fight so hard for. You want the throne, but it's not just being a king in wartime. Like being a king in peacetime, you have to talk about taxes. You have to talk about, all of this planning stuff. The date, like you said, the day-to-day stuff.
That grass ain't greener on the other side.
Just sitting up there. It's just
That was spot on.
knocked out. But so they
yeah.
like yes, yes. But so they come in there and they tell Allison that her guests have arrived, talking about Rhaenyra and Daemon. So she goes to greet them, but she's stopped in the hallway by Sir Eric, who I'm guessing is a twin because there's Eric and Eric, because he corrects her because she calls him the wrong name.
Yeah, we alluded to this. We said we probably would never see them at the same time, but with the magic of CGI, I can't see how we wouldn't. But
I'm trying to remember when we saw them before.
No, he said he was a twin. Okay.
I must have missed that.
Okay. Of course.
But so he's telling Allison that there's a problem with Aegon. So Allison,
I could be wrong. I just want to throw that out there.
Okay.
Some people might say like, "Oh, he's wrong. He don't want to admit it." Okay.
But let us know in the comment if we missed that.
Who wants to hear that? Mr. VIP, you wrong.
But you say we like reading the comments.
I'll take it. Bad or good.
But so Allison runs up, trying to figure out what's going on, and apparently Aegon has had his way with one of the handmaidens. She said she was coming in, bringing Aegon his tea. She didn't see him. Next thing you know, he just went at it. She tried to get him to stop. He didn't want to stop. So
it's called rape.
Yes,
it is. Rape crime. But they didn't have a name for it back then.
I mean, he's a prince, so nobody's going to take her side over here, unfortunately. And this is what Allison tells her. Dana is the young lady's name. Diana is Diana. Diana was her name.
Diana.
Wow.
I was referencing the King of Pop. I don't know where you were going with this.
I mean, you making a connection. I'm just saying. But so this is basically what Allison tells her, said that, I believe you. I'm sorry. But she said that, if you already told, the other handmaiden, you told the knight, now you're telling me, you go out, you're talking about this to any other people, they might start looking at you a little bit different. They might be calling your character into question, saying some people might say that you
are
led him
shaming
on
this young girl.
And so we see what Allison is doing and how she is trying to save or preserve her son's name, because she still wants to basically groom him up to be able to take the throne, and he can't have these dark clouds over his head.
Stop right there. Mm-hmm. Isn't that a bit hypocritical? Because isn't that exactly what Nair did in her situation?
Yes.
Wow. And that's called good writing. Yep. So, but the thing about it, though, you see Allison struggling with this.
Right.
It's not a simple, I'm just going to say what it is.
No.
Her morality drops because it's like, I have to do this for, again, bigger picture, my son, because this would derail things. This would be bad. I can't have this come out. So I got to nip it at the bud. Get the pot.
Get that tea.
Get that tea and bring it on over here. And as they did, because this can't go any further than this. And It is hypocritical because your friend had her own personal things, a choice that she made. And You were ready to be holier than thou against the traditions and the virtues of the law of the realm of the, and now you're compromising yourself for your children when Rhaenyra chose it for herself.
Right.
Good writing. So I guess we'll accept a little incest every now and then. But hey, for the time of the future, of the past,
wherever it's set in. But
this is a book, right?
So Alicent goes in, confronts Aegon, and obviously he was drunk, sleeping off a hangover, butt ass naked in the bed.
That was at a party. Molly and rape. What? Why is that a bumper sticker? That is wow.
I'm gonna need you to stop saying what you're saying before these clips get taken out of context. So Alicent wakes Aegon up. She questions him about it. He's like, it wasn't nothing. It's no big deal. Alicent slaps him across the face. We're like, look, you need to get your shit together because you are fucking up, my guy.
Straight up.
And so
you summarized it well.
And he, again, just as he told her, 6 years ago when he was younger, I don't want this. I don't care about this. This is not, my ambition. This is not something that I want. And so while she's doing that, Rhaenyra and Daemon, they go to see Viserys. Viserys is bedridden. Viserys is weak. Viserys is withering away. He is a shell of his former self. And so they finally get to see him. And we see, obviously, it hurts Rhaenyra to see her father like this. But we also see how it affects Daemon. Daemon can barely even look at Viserys. And we see that, of course, there's that tea again. It's not the same tea, but it's still a different kind of tea. They're drugging him up. The milk of the poppy. They're basically keeping him drugged up. He's not coherent. He's not lucid.
Wait a minute. Hold on. Don't you come over here and start victim shaming the king again with that victim shame mentality you have. How do you know that this man is not in so much pain? That's the only way that he could get comfortable, because we can see when he stopped taking the milk of the poppy, because he told, no, I'm not, because when he seen his daughter was there, he's like, no, I want to see my daughter. He was in agonizing pain.
Okay.
And he made that walk. That slow, decrepit, I gotta get to my fix walk when he came through and sat on the throne. But I'm getting ahead of myself. I'm getting ahead of you. Sorry. So go ahead and finish what you were saying.
Well, what I was going to say is that Daemon realizes, yes, it is a different tea, and I'm not victim blaming. I wasn't victim blaming anyone. I was basically saying what Alicent was saying to Diana. But Daemon realizes what it is that they're giving him. And so when Alicent finally arrives, they basically confront her. It was like, we understand you're late because that's what, it's such a ruler has things that they have to attend to. And so Alicent, I don't rule. I just, do what Viserys tells me. And it's like, Daemon is going to say what he wants. He's like, I'm surprised he's telling you anything. You keep him drugged up all the time. And just like you said, Alicent said that, you should see him without it. He's obviously in pain. This is the only thing that soothes him or eases him. And they're just like, all right, we're not trying to get into, y'all business or whatever, but it seems kind of sketchy.
That part right there. Let's stop that part right there, that part. He's like, all right, then, I see what y'all doing, but, we just here to see what's going on with this.
Right. But so we also see that Rhaenyra also has 2 more sons.
This thing.
Not only does she have 2 more sons, but she's also pregnant with a 3rd child. So she has Aegon and Viserys, and now she's pregnant with a 3rd child. Don't know if that's going to be a boy or a girl. But
You know this is
so,
a book, right?
yes, I know it's a book. That doesn't mean I'm about to go and read the book. But, so and also Aegon, Alicent's Aegon is married or betrothed. No, he's married at this point. He's married to his sister. He's married to Helena.
Yeah.
So, but
Feels weird saying it, huh?
yes,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
not 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 saying already the wrongness of him raping a handmaiden. It's even more morally wrong that he's also married. But it just goes to show that Aegon doesn't care. Aegon doesn't hold any of this in value.
Right.
And so while the adults are doing their thing, Lucerys and Jacaerys, we saw that Luke was leaning into no, we saw Jacaerys was studying High Valyrian. He was like hitting the books hard. In a contrast as to what we'll see how Aegon behaves, Jake is very he's very interested. He's very like he wants to be a good king. He wants to be a good ruler. He wants to make sure that he's following the guidelines. He's following and honoring his forefathers, his forebearers. And to the point to where Rhaenyra is like, unless you plan on killing me, you got time. You know, you have some time. So, you got a minute. You don't have to force it all at once. But so while the adults are having their little back and forth, Luke and Jake, they go out to the courtyard, to the training yard, and they're basically saying, "Oh, see, it's the same as we left it," and they point to a certain area where Luke tried to swing Sir Kristen's Morningstar, took a big chunk out of the wall, and so while they're reminiscing about that, everybody's watching them. Everybody's eyeballing them. They got all of these eyes on him, and Luke's feeling uncomfortable. And so Jake is basically telling him, "It's like, don't worry about that. Don't even worry about all of them. They're just hating. Don't don't pay them no attention." And so they hear some clanging and banging going on in the background. They turn around. It's Sir Kristen having a little training, a little sparring match with not so little Aemon anymore. Aemon done grew up in his 6 years. Aemon is looking like a straight up just he's leaned into his badass persona. He's looking like looking like a man that is cut out of stone, and he's ready to take down anybody who comes across his path.
See what that big dragon do? That's what. Just hold on. Just hold on for your life, because he looked like he killed some people off screen. Straight up,
did. He looks like and he's not. I say a man, but he's a teenager at this point, like 17, 18, 19, something like that.
That dude paying taxes. What are you talking about? That dude grown up. That dude got investments. Listen. It's a. I think I know why they did that age jump, because I think we're in for a treat. I think there's going to be something, and I'll stand on this and say it if we don't see it later on, but I think we're going to see him execute some type of skill. Being that you're on one of the biggest and baddest dragons they have in a show about dragons, they're not just going to make you a little non-fighter. You're going to be an assassin. You're going to be cold with your moves. You're going to do something that we've probably never seen aesthetically wise in the show. And I'm interested to see where they go, because if nothing else, they pulled off the look.
Yeah,
they pulled off the look, and he looks like when he stood up, I was like, okay, here we go. But he just didn't have his time to shine, but he was on the ready.
Yeah.
And, he had to come down off that edge. And I think that's their way of prepping the audience, of saying, you don't want to miss this one.
Yeah.
Kind of like how Arya was when she started. getting, that's for those who watch. It's not for you, Spider. You wouldn't understand that one. It's Arya Stark.
I mean, I know the name. I just don't have any
You
relation
don't
or
know the woman without a face. You don't know the girl without a face.
no, I don't.
She's a woman. Okay,
I
the
don't.
faceless woman.
But
You know the faceless man.
no.
Okay, so you just know face people. Okay, don't worry about it.
But the actor that they cast to play teenage Aemon, he fit that persona very well. It was very expertly acted by the gentleman, and he's just like he has that air of cockiness about him. We see that he bests Sir Kristen in their little sparring duel, and to the point to where he turns to his nephews. We don't even know when he saw them, but he saw them at some point, and he was just like, nephews, have you come to train? And it's just like the way that he looks at them, it almost looks like he's trying to instill fear in them. Like the last time we fought, y'all know what happened. Y'all got the best of me, but it's not going to happen again.
See what that dragon do? I'm just throwing it out there, man. The big dragon is a game changer. It instills confidence. So, did I tell him there's dragons in? You think I should tell him? I'm gonna keep it a secret.
I mean, but so during the night, Rhaenyra goes to plead to Viserys. Viserys is in his bed, of course. He's dealing with his pain, but Rhaenyra is basically pleading to Viserys, and she's like, I need your help. I thought I wanted the throne, but I don't want to have to deal with all of this.
Right.
And honestly, she kind of put herself in that position when she slept with Sir Harwin and all of that other kind of stuff.
There you go. Victim shaming again.
She's not. Is she a victim of cheating on her husband?
Hey man, listen. This was different times. This was in the future. This was.
Like I was saying in the previous episode, she had to have known that this was going to come back to bite her.
What do you want to do? To kill kids?
No, I don't want her to kill kids. That is not what I was saying.
Kids murder babies now. These kids are here. We got to deal with what's going on right now.
I understand
and
that.
I want the king to step up and come set things right.
And so Rhaenyra is pleading to Viserys.
Christian wasn't hit the way he's supposed to. And that's why, she moved on to better things,
Oh, she moved on to better things because Sir Kristen got in his feelings and didn't want to.
I'm supposed to be a whore. I'm not to be a whore.
But so, she asked Viserys, the Song of Ice and Fire, that the prophecy that you told me, is it true? And we think that Viserys is totally out of it and he doesn't hear a word that she's saying. But we come to find out that he heard all of it. He heard her pleas. He heard her cries.
He's a strong king.
So the next day, when they get Viserys up and they're cleaning his wounds, Otto's there. Viserys tells Otto, he said, Otto, I want to have supper. And Otto, thinking the king is still out of it, he's like, Your Grace, it's morning. And Viserys is like, I know that. I want to talk about tonight. I want dinner tonight.
Keep up. Man, still running circles around y'all. God damn, man. Shit. Why would I have dinner in the morning time?
So he says that he finally has his entire family back in the castle. He wants to have dinner with everybody. And they try to give him the milk of the poppy, and Viserys refuses it. I don't want it. I don't want it. I don't want it. I don't want it. And so Otto's like, all right, you saying you don't want it? I'm not gonna force it on you. And so,
well, you can't. He's the king,
right? And so they get down to the throne room. They're ready to have their petitions. Vaemon comes in. He's saying this piece. Rhaenyra's trying to interrupt them. Alicent's like, "Hey, shut up! You it's like Vaemon is talking. You're gonna get your turn. Just be patient." And so Vaemon goes and gives
right there.
and so Vaemon gives his speech, talks his piece, and basically, I'm second son. Driftmark is my home. This is where I grew up. I'm full blood, and like I'm not gonna let anybody who's not full blood come and take my seat. And so Sir Otto is like, "All right, you said your piece. Rhaenyra, now you have time to say your piece." Rhaenyra is like, "This is a complete farce. I don't know why this is being called into question." So she's getting ready to go into her rebuttal. Doors open. Who shows up? Viserys. With his pimp cane, his gold mask.
Coming straight out of the pimp convention, baby. Man, come down there with the...
Absolutely no one expected this. The look, again, with the looks, the way that these actors are portraying these roles, and they have these reactions on their faces. Otto's face when Viserys shows up in this great hall, his face just like Otto's face, Alicent's face, everybody's face just drops. It's like, this is unexpected. Like, we didn't know that's what was going to happen. So we get
the
Viserys.
rumors of my death was greatly exaggerated. Now so watch me walk.
Yeah, we had to watch him walk for a while. And so he makes it to the steps. The knights come to help him. He was like, "I'm fine. I can do this." So he goes to try to pull himself up the steps. It's taking every bit of his energy. His crown falls off, and God damn it, Daemon comes up to help his brother.
The anti-hero.
When I tell you, I felt like an air of pride for this man. It's like like we said, the last time that they talked, Viserys wanted him to come home. He was like, "I live in Pentos. Pentos is my home now. I'm not coming back." But after seeing the condition that his brother is in, he's not going to just let him stroll like that. So even Viserys sees Daemon. He's thinking it's the Knights again. He's like, "I'm fine." And Daemon's like, "Bruh, let me help you.
I got you.
Yeah. And so he helps him up the stairs, puts his crown back on his head. It's like, "Do your king shit." And then he just falls back.
Oh, respect.
And so
it's a moment. It's a moment.
It is a very powerful moment, and it's just so impactful to see that character progression between those two brothers and everything that they've done. When the last time they were in that room, Viserys kicked Daemon in his ribs. So get the fuck out of here. You try to sleep with my daughter, get out of here.
No, you bring up old shit, man.
I'm just saying that.
How many years ago?
At that point, it was 16 years ago.
God damn, man! How do you want them to hold a grudge?
I'm just saying that there's the character. Alicent ain't let it go.
It's a different time. I wouldn't let it go.
But it was a different time. You're right. But it just shows how far they came since the last time they were in that room. And so Viserys, after he catches his breath, he's like, "I don't understand why we're hearing petitions over a matter that's already been settled." Viserys is the heir to the Driftmark throne. But if anybody has anything to say about it, if anyone knows Lord Corlys's wishes, the best person that would know that is Princess Rhaenys. So I'm going to give her a chance for her to say what it is that she wants to say. And so Rhaenyra approached Rhaenys in the garden before all of this happened and was like, "Look, I know you think that we had something to do with your son's death. I promise you I didn't. But you got to understand, like, what's at stake here. Like, I need your support. I need your help." And she was like, "So how about this? I make you an offer. My sons will be betrothed to your granddaughters. We'll keep House Targaryen, House Valerian all together. The same way that Viserys went to Corlys and said, 'I will betroth Rhaenyra to Laenor.' Keep House of Valerian and Targaryen together. Still keeping the house together, keeping us strong." And so,
at least it's not the type of incest that they used to. You know, it is kind of. It's more like kissing cousins, then
Yeah. But so
Which
Renice is
Renee's a hero. She's the one that broke the curse anyway. And y'all made her go back into this bloodline. She was having kids with people that wasn't related to her, and y'all condemned her for that. Y'all wrong for that. Y'all wanted her to have these kids with her uncle. I just wanted to put the spotlight where it should go. Hey.
So
bloodline starting to loosen up now.
Yeah, but so Renice is like, is this like it's a generous offer or it's a desperate one? And Rhaenyra basically said, at this point, doesn't even matter. And so that kind of stopped Renice a little bit. She was like, you know what? At this point, it doesn't matter. It really doesn't. But she wasn't going to give her the sense of satisfaction of thinking that she was going to accept that offer.
That's how the boss does it. Let you think about it for a couple of days.
Let you stew on it. I'm not going to let you know what my next move is.
I know what I'm going to do, but you don't know. That's just sitting in anticipation.
So in the Great Hall, Rhaenys is saying her piece, and she's basically saying Lord Corlys is a man of legacy. And she basically, like she said, she's not going against her husband's wishes. And should he survive...
Now, the question is, do you think her husband is dead?
I don't think he is.
I don't think he is either. I think he's coming home next episode since we keep jumping in time and seeing that his brother is dead. So he's going to be pissed off with the same guy that he made a pact with to kind of get the stuff that because that's great storytelling. And you're going to have to deal with, you killed my brother.
Right.
Because let's talk
about why. Let's talk about why. And that's exactly right. So Rhaenys basically says, I'm not gonna go against my husband's wishes. He said that he wanted Luke to be the heir to the throne, so that's what it's gonna be. And so Viserys is like, so it is settled. Again, we don't need to talk about this no more. Vaemond was like, you know what? No, I'm not accepting this because I am not about to let my legacy, my name, my house, my bloodline be taken over.
That house there about legacy. We're still in story. Go ahead.
Right. But so he said and so he gestures to Rhaenyra's kids, to these. And I love Daemon just standing there looking him dead in the eyes like, say it. Like, I want you to say it. I dare you to say it. And so Vaemond...
And just so he thought he wasn't going to.
I didn't think he was going to say it either because he stopped himself and he said, these children. So I'm thinking he was going to progress with his statement after that. And he said, these children are, and at the loudest he could say, make sure that everybody in his hall, all the way in the back, could hear, these children are bastards. And so everybody's like, ooh, he said the quiet part out loud.
Spider, we talked about these names. We talked about how detrimental the word bastard is affiliated in this story. It is something that you just don't want to be. So when you have somebody calling you out on it publicly, but hold on, this is the princess's Rhaenyra's kids you talking about. You ain't just talking about a typical bastard.
Right, you're just not talking about any old kids.
This celebrity bastards. This, whoa. And the king stands up and pull out that yeah. I will have your tongue for this. And you done crossed the line coming into my house calling my children out their name.
And Daemon beats him to the punch. Daemon walks up behind them, slice, whole top, gone.
Clean,
but the tongue stays there. That's that Valyrian steel. Valyrian steel cut through his skull like butter.
That is gross that you compare those two things together. But I do get the reference.
But the most badass line. It was a clean cut. He says, I will have your tongue for this. And so Daemon cuts his head off. Tongue's still there. He drops to the ground. Daemon's like, he could keep his tongue.
Which made it seem like the cut was definitely deliberately accurate. Bad boy, Dean. Bad boy.
And it's, again, the looks. The looks. I don't know if this is going to come into play with anything, but we see that they're constantly cutting back in between Rhaenyra and her family. She's got Daemon. She got the kids. Well, the boys, I should say, because the girls are on Rhaenys's. Well, Baela is on Rhaenys's side. Rhaena is on Rhaenyra's side. So there's these three separate groups. So you have Baela and Rhaenys. You have Rhaenyra, Daemon, and the kids, and then you have Alicent and all of her kids kind of standing off to the front. And so we're cutting back. Mm-hmm.
I want to say this before we get too far off subject about this when I was talking about him being alive, though.
Okay.
Queen that never was. And I said he probably is alive because it's going to be a good story for him to come back and have to deal with that. But the second side of it is, do you think that he won't deal with it? Again, you're getting what you always wanted, which was the legacy. Right. And though you lost a brother, you gained a legacy. So is it enough for you not to go at Daemon's head because you want your line to continue? I mean, he said
he spoke the truth. Like we said, he was telling the truth.
Remember names. Mm-hmm. So now that you're in the game, now that you're cemented in, are you really going to come at me?
Are you going to go at Daemon for basically upholding what it is that you wanted in the first place?
Again,
that's a good question.
The way he moves, you would like it, Andre 3 Stacks. Just saying, he's methodical with it.
Yeah,
and you gotta love it about it because. Are you angry because I gave you what you wanted? It's kind of like a monkey's paw. At what cost, though?
Right.
Is it monkey paw, monkey foot?
Monkey paw,
if they walk on their hands, okay.
It's still a paw, I guess. But yeah, I don't know. I can't, like, that's probably like the hardest question that you've asked me about Game of Thrones right now, is whether or not Corlys is going to be mad that Daemon killed his brother. And it's like, because you can see it from both sides, right? You can see it as, one, you killed my brother, so obviously I'm going to fucking come after you. But then at the same time, had you not, who knows what would have happened with the whole lineage of the throne. So because you still kept my wishes intact, I'm mad, but I can't be that mad. So I don't know.
Because how many times we done seen the king come back and have to dethrone somebody? Black Panther. I'm just saying it's one of those things. It's I give you what you want, but again,
at what cost?
At what cost?
Right.
So are you mad because you got it? Because you asked for it.
Right.
Damn.
But before we get too far away from it, one of the things I wanted to kind of touch on was just like we were talking about the looks, the reactionary looks that you get from people, from these characters when certain things happen. We've been talking about Aemon and how his glow up in the last 6 years, it became a completely different person. Now, when Daemon cut off, he's literally a different person. When Daemon cut off Daemon's head, and they did a reaction shot on Alicent and her group, you can see like a tinge of a smile on Aemon's face. Right. And it's like he enjoys that. He likes to see the violence. He probably is going to become a hyper violent person himself. But
now here's the thing. Mm-hmm. I don't want to interrupt you, but I don't want you to not catch this we seen the opposite side with his sisters, basically foretelling his existence of losing an eye.
Right.
And she's playing with bugs, and I'm pretty sure in the next episode or in the following episodes, we'll see her level up as well. And it's clear she's going to be in some type of future telling. We're going to have to get the mystical parts into this.
Yeah.
And she's the introduction to such because she foretold the future of him losing an eye to gain a power. And again, I'm here for it, man. But I just wanted to add that in while you were saying his level up. There's an opposite tender side that I wouldn't take her for granted because I think she probably has the power to control trees or some shit.
Okay, I got you.
Yeah. I don't know. I didn't read the book.
I mean, like you said, she called it because when they were talking about how when he was younger, he was saying that he doesn't have a dragon, and Allison said you'll get a dragon, and Helena said he'll have to close an eye, and that's exactly what happened. He lost an eye, but he got a dragon. So and we didn't really talk about it because it was some, kind of such a small part into everything else that happened in the episode.
No such thing as small parts. You got to kill every role.
But Helena was playing with a spider, like in a little clamshell, and so she was talking to the spider and stuff like that. So all of the stuff that she was talking about when she's playing with these bugs and everything is potentially could be things that we'll see in the future. So I would have to go back and see exactly what she was saying and how that plays a part into anything else that we might see in the last couple of episodes of the show. But Vamon's dead, top clean cut off.
Like a convertible.
So they bring him to the back. They're starting to prepare his body to ship back to Driftmark in order for his funeral.
Kind of put that man's head like closer, like you clearly saw. There's a huge gap between. I mean, I know he did, but you could put the cap back on.
They could have. I don't know why they didn't. They just left that. They just left that separation. It's like
that's not how you do a sandwich. That don't let that man open face like that with all his ingredients out. That's it's not. That's just wrong.
Yeah. So I don't know. But so Rhaenys is there. She's watching them prepare the body. The maester is basically telling her, it's like, it's not a good sign for you to look upon death like this. And she's like, death doesn't care whether my eyes are open or closed. She's like you said, boss status. She's like, death will come for me whenever it comes for me. I don't care.
She is over it. And the thing about it,
she really is.
That only makes her more dangerous.
It does.
Because take nothing away from her, she's calculated too.
Oh, absolutely. And we have no idea. Everybody else puts their plan and they lay it out. So we know what everybody else's plan is. With Rhaenys, we don't know what she's got planned. We don't know what, she said that she's, like you said, she let go of that a long time ago. She's like, I was next in line for the throne. They skipped over me. I'm the queen who never was. I let go of that. I'm not trying to fight for the throne anymore. But what are you fighting for now?
Really, her kids.
True.
The kids.
But the kids are gone now. So is it just her grandkids now?
She still has daughters, and again.
She does have other daughters.
The story is legacy in that house.
Right.
Legacy. So I'm going to preserve our name. She knows she's going to die, but these kids are going to be in this. When you talk about King's Landing, hey, bring my name up. Right. We in here too. So when you're writing down, when the Masons are writing the books, make sure my name's in there too. And I believe as much as she doesn't let that be a driving force, again, you are around your surroundings. This is all you hear: legacy, 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 legacy.
Right, and they're going to keep the Valerian name because, like they said, like we were talking about when Viserys was going to Driftmark to arrange the betrothal of Rhaenyra and Laenor, said that the firstborn, of course, he's going to be the heir to the throne, to the Iron Throne. He's going to take over the name Targaryen, but whoever is in line to take the throne of Driftmark, he's going to keep the name Valerian. So when Jace takes over the throne, now he's betrothed to Rhaena. So they're going to keep the Valerian name. Any kids that they have, they're going to have the Valerian name. So like you said, they keep that legacy. They keep that, they keep that name throughout the history.
It's so much chess that it could never be checkers.
No,
it's almost like 3-dimensional chess. It's almost like Big Bang Theory, or even Star Trek, or just a new chess that's probably out now. Y'all watching this. It's multi-level, and if you're not ready to get in that game, I advise you to stay on the sideline, because there's sharks in that water. And, you can say what you want, but again, you could better be responsible for what you're saying, and be careful who you're saying it to, because these words have ramifications. Keep calling people bastards if you want. You're not going to play with the princess like that. And off with his head could not be a more depicted situation that happened for him. And I don't think she came there with the intentions of her losing her brother-in-law.
No,
but
absolutely not.
At the same time, what's she gonna do? Because I don't have an army here. I don't have. It happened so fast, and it's like,
and my to be honest, she didn't seem too broken up about it either.
Not in the least bit, because again, my kids are going to, I got to go back and tell your kids that you're dead. And they're going to be mad, and they're going to rise up. But what we not going to do is that, because again, you're going to mess up what I have going on. So I'm going to need you to go ahead and tuck all that emotion in and go on a journey to go kill or something, because you're not about to come over here with that.
Right. So while Rhaenys is dealing with the preparing of Vaemon's body to get sent back to Driftmark, the Targaryens, they all have their dinner. They have their dinner. They have their supper like Viserys wanted. So they have their feast. They come in there and they're all seated around a table. Again, nobody's really saying anything. Nobody's really talking. And so Viserys gets carried in. He gives...
you're not about to do that. You're not about to downplay the king like that. Okay, shame on you, sir. First of all, the king was in a hover chair. He hovered in there, defying gravity.
I don't want nobody. I don't want nobody who's listening to this episode who happened to not see episode 8 of House of the Dragon to think that he got some futuristic hover chair. He got carried in. He got carried in.
His chair defied gravity. Chairs don't move like that. What chair carry you all the way into the room with that don't have wheels on it?
There was a whole ancient Egyptian culture of people getting carried on thrones around places.
Get it first. Well, we talk about this show. Okay. Ain't nobody else getting hovered into the room. Big boss energy for King Valerius getting hovered chaired up to the dinner. That's how a king rolled up. I ain't got to walk. I walked earlier. Y'all saw me
and that was all of his energy that he had.
Y'all saw me do it. I did that. I don't have to walk no more. What Murphy Lee say? Probably see you walking with. I ain't walking nowhere. You know the line. Don't go back. Go ahead and look it up if you don't remember it. Google's your friend. Go ahead and Google Murphy Lee, and you can tell by what I'm saying is the king arrived in style. That's it. That's all. You just trying to downplay it. He got carried in.
Because he got carried in.
This dude just be hating on the king. You gotta kiss. It's a monarchy.
Viserys gets carried into the supper. He sits at the head of the table. He sits at the head of the table. I'm trying to, because we're running long. I'm trying to get through the rest of the episode.
What do you think, man? Hater. Something in the air.
All of a sudden, Mr. VIP Frankie Washington gets muted for the rest of the episode.
We might win an award. We might win an award on this one then.
But so Viserys is at the head of the table. He lays it all out. He's like, I am not long for this world. I don't have a lot of time left, but If anything, I implore you, I ask of you, I beg of you, not as a king, but as this old man, to honor the wishes of your father, of your brother, of your husband, of your grandsire. Stop fighting. Settle this. Put it all aside so that I can see my family happy at least for once before I die. And he gives a very emphatic speech. And shout out to Patty Considine for this entire journey that he's taken this entire show from episode 1 to episode 8, because he's, out of everybody, he's had to do the most transformation, because you look at Damon, you look at Otto, they, even though they've supposedly aged 16 to 20 years throughout the whole show, they're still, of course, played by the same actors. All of the children are being, cast is being switched out. He's playing the same person the entire time, but he has to visibly age up. He has to show his frailty. He has to show his weakness. He has to show his ailments. He has to pretend to not have an arm. Now he has to pretend to not have an eye. He's given the performance of a lifetime this entire series, and shout out to him, because he's doing a hell of a job.
Shout out. It was uncomfortable to see him in some of them scenes. It was like
he looked like he was in so much pain.
I'm like, let this man go. Writers, don't have him do nothing else. Because it's zombie right now.
He really is.
Getting multiverse of madness right now. We're talking to corpse. This is Johnny Depp.
To be 100% honest with you, I thought he was going to die at the table.
Well, a king, made of that type of stuff, he's gonna hang on.
Yeah,
but he is. So
he did. He did hang on, and he was able to see, because they actually showed the kids. And so Rhaenyra stands up and she says that, she tells Alicent, she proposes a toast to Alicent. She's basically saying, I never wanted this. I never wanted us to fall out like this. We used to be friends. And she apologized. She said, I'm sorry. And then, they go around, everybody's doing their toast, they're apologizing. So Rhaenyra and Alicent, they bury the hatchet. It's over and done with. They're cool. And so we see, when they start bringing the food out, we actually see that they're having, lighthearted conversation, like it's Thanksgiving, and they're laughing. The king is like, let's have some music. Even Helena makes a joke. She said, because the boys are betrothed to Bela and Rhaena now, she's like, marriages are so bad. He ignores you most of the time. Unless he comes home drunk, then, it's whatever. And so, of course, that puts, that sheds some light on Aegon, because he's a horrible person. He's not a nice dude. And so even still, he's teasing Jake. Is like, you do know how to lay with a woman, don't you? Like, the logistics of it, where to, put everything. And so Jake is like, just dude, chill out, just stop. And he was like, I'm not gonna have you speak like that in front of my betrothed. See, again, he takes his station, he takes his status very seriously, whereas Aegon does not. And it's just a contrast of the two older brothers and how they're just like completely different people. And so it gets to the point to where he keeps at it and and Jace is like, slams the table and he stands up, and everybody's looking at him and is like, you good? And he's the bigger man. Right. He takes a high road. He's like,
talk about this with, the king just said.
Right. Because at this point, the king has, he's retired to bed. He's gone off. And so they're still there.
Wait a minute. You ain't gonna do the king like this. You just dislodge. They kill people for this, right? The king left the chambers, the room, the dining hall, in his hover chair. Put some respect on the King Valerius name, man.
It's not a hover chair. It doesn't hover automatically. He got
it's a prototype.
He got four men to carry him out of the room.
Okay, see, they say you guys will be around. It's okay.
You guys. All right. Okay.
Yeah.
Let's see how you wanna play that game.
The king hovered to the bed,
Yeah,
so
he hovered, he floated, he levitated the bed. Yeah, okay. Okay.
and
So
then not that long after,
it starts to bubble up again because the parents may have settled their beef, but the kids are still holding on to it.
still
So
got more to go.
Jake swallows his pride. He's like, just want to propose a toast to my uncles. I want to wish them long life. He's particularly talking to Aegon. He's like, wish him health, prosperity, all this other kind of stuff, and being a bigger person. It's not until they bring the pig out and put it in front of Aemon, and Luke sees it, and Luke starts to laugh because, of course, he's thinking about Pink Dread and the pig that they played a joke on him. So Aemon, of course, notices this. He bangs the table. He stands up. It's like, final toast to my nephews. May you continue to be what he's like, healthy, happy. And then he stopped. And he's like, and strong. You all are so strong. You are strong men. And I hope you continue to be strong men.
For those who just watch us and don't know, catch the show, Strong is the name of their daddy.
Right. Their father was Sir Harwin Strong. And so Jake was dancing with Helena, and he's like, say it again. Say the word again. Say it again. I dare you to say it again. And so they keep going at it, and so they break out into a fight. I'm going to need these strong boys to live up to their name and learn how to fight, because this is the second time that they went up against these Targaryens and they got their shit pushed in. Jake punches Aemon. Aemon shrugged it off like it wasn't nothing. Luke tried to jump up. Aegon catches Luke, bashes his head into the table, and just holds him down. They don't have it. They ain't got it.
About it too. They got extra training from Sir
Kristen.
Christian Moral Man. Dun, 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 dun.
Moral Man. I am Moral Man. I am not your whore.
Wow. So they didn't get the proper training and time to develop their skills to fight. There was no one there until Daemon came. Right. Because even though their father was there, he didn't really teach them much of anything because he was busy. Well, he was busy. He knew how to fight. He was a warrior as well, right. But he was busy entertaining. And plus, he's like, them ain't my kids. So,
well, that's what he had to say. But no, it did show that he was around, because when Joffrey was born, he was holding Joffrey. He wanted to be there and see Joffrey.
But I'm saying he didn't.
He couldn't give them that type of attention.
When Daemon stepped in, those boys stood down.
Yes, they did.
So that goes to show you that he's involved. Yes. So they may learn how to fight and go back.
That was going to be my question. That was going to be my question. Do you think that Daemon is going to step in after seeing that and seeing how they kind of got handled? If he's going to step in and teach them how to fight?
Oh yeah, it's going to be something that's magical. Because again, he's calculated. He's smart. He reads books. You notice a book, right? I'm just saying.
Daemon looked at Aegon. And Daemon looked at him. He was like, I dare you to try it. I dare you to step to me. He's like, I want you to step to me so I can put your shit in.
And it's, you got to be mindful, guys, that are just walking around with that ready. Like that. It's a fresh can of ass whooping, and just the top, it's right there ready to be peeled back. And then you release the beast, and now you got an energy drink. So what I'm saying is this thing has come to a head. Right. And it goes to show that they can't get along because there's always those under microaggressions because we're deep rooted. And I lost an eye, but you stole my wife's dragon. And, it's so entangled with each other.
Right.
Woo!
And to be honest, they even though Rhaenyra and Alicent is kind of squash their beef, this is how
Was
Aegon and
all past them.
Aemon were raised. They were raised because Alicent was feeding that hate into them. Like they're bastards.
Mhm.
They're not of pure blood. You know, they not are not who
Right.
they say they are. So that
And
way,
that's
that
not
means that they
for
are not worthy. They are not of your level. You are of a royal bloodline. They are not. And to be honest, they're kind of not because they're not full blooded Targaryens. They're half Targaryen, half Hightower.
Hey man, there's only one hypocrite in the show, and you add more hypocrites. It's all these hypocrites, all these hypocritical things going on. But it
but
is true. They're
but
not.
but so to wrap out the episode, so Viserys is in bed. Alicent goes in to bring him more milk of the poppy, to try to
Yes.
soothe his pain because obviously he's in a lot of pain. He's even saying, you know, no more. He's just it hurts so much.
Not
But
enough.
so in his delusional state, he thinks that he's talking to Rhaenyra, but he's talking to Alicent because the last thing that Rhaenyra asked him when he was in bed was, "Is the Song of Ice and Fire true? Is Aegon the Conqueror's dream? Was it something that you still believe in?" And so he continues to tell Alicent that yes, it is true. And Alicent's like, "I don't know what you're talking about." And so he's
And,
like, "Aegon is like it falls to you. You are the answer. You're the one that is going to unite the kingdoms." And so Alicent takes that as he's talking about our son Aegon. And that's the problem with you naming like all of these people having the same names.
that's why they have juniors and the seconds and
And
the
then
thirds and
thirds.
the fourths. Hey, here's the thing that I'm going to say about that scene, though.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I don't think there was enough meat in that context to make this transition. And let me tell you
Mm-hmm.
why. In the halls of the great dragon that was dead, Skull, they had the conversation with Rhaenyra, Rhaenyra and Rhaenyra, and he was telling them about the story of Fire and Ice, right? There's
Right.
context there. When we talk about it, you know your duties of it. The war is coming. You need to unite the realms because it's all hands on deck when it gets here.
Right.
That's just what it is. It's so seen in a vision. It's going to happen. We're hitting that visions. We're hitting that see in the future. We're hitting that things to come. Get this together, and you need to get it together. But again, that's a conversation that they had.
Right.
There's no part on screen that I can recall because again, this was a secret of the king, and
Right.
she
Only
only
passed down to the
knows
heirs.
this. She's only knowing this because she's an heir. There is no way Allison should take this as anything but the ramblings of a dying man and use this as a call to action to stand up on this execution of trying to do exactly what you should do. This was your out. This was your out. Otto has what he has. You're in the game now. We done made peace.
Mm-hmm.
All we got to really do is kind of reel these kids in. You may not like it, but you're going to respect it. And you don't like it, go get your own kingdom. You can do what you choose. But around here, you go respect the traditions. But to have this be the reignition of doing anything, I think was
Mm-hmm.
weak. I just don't, because she doesn't have no enough context about it to have that be the motivation of, yeah, let me make sure my son get this thing.
That's all she has to go off, and because she doesn't have that context, she hears him say Aegon. Aegon is supposed to be
Yeah,
Aegon.
but she doesn't even know the story of Fire and Ice. She
She's
has
not
no
going
idea
off the
what's
story of
going
Fire and Night. She's going off of the
on.
only the fact that he said Aegon,
Aegon,
and that
why
she
did you
said
say that name?
that's basically that's basically all it is. That's basically all it is, and the fact that he never said and she should know this at this point because when they were leaving the funeral, he called her Emma. So again, like you said, he's not in his right mind. He's slipping, fading in and out of lucidity, and so because he
So,
didn't distinctly say Rhaenyra, so she thinks that he's talking to her. So he says that you are the one you are the key. You are going to help unite the realm. So she thinks that he's talking to her, and she's just going to take that and run with it.
Hey man, you asked a question earlier this episode, previous episode. Why would Rhaenyra think that that would not catch up to her? My question is, why would Allison think that this has anything to do with her? It's just not enough meat in that sandwich. Didn't you see Lightyear? It should be meat, bread, meat. It shouldn't be. The point of what I'm saying is, there's no way that she could take that and run with it.
But
It
she
was
will,
thin.
because that's what she wants to hear. That's what she wants it to be. All it does is take just a little bit of something, and if that just basically reinforces the thing that you already want, then that's all she got to do is just take that and run with it. And who's going to tell her anything different? Because she heard what she heard, and she's interpreting it in the way that she wants to interpret it. I agree with you. I'm not saying that is a valid thing. I'm not saying that it's a strong foundation on her to run and just undo all of the healing that they just got
That
through.
you just did. You just did it. Like you just. Yeah, I know what I said. Fuck all that.
Right. He was at the most coherent that he had been in a while, and he said that these were his wishes, and he never went back. He never, ever since he, like you said, we talked about this on the previous episode, never since he announced that Rhaenyra was the heir to the throne has he gone back. The only person that he told was Rhaenyra. He said that there was a brief moment in time where I had a little bit of a lapse when they were out at the hunt, and he was thinking that, okay, well, maybe I'll name Aegon. But he said, I'm not doing that to you. I'm not going to name anybody else to the heir to the throne. You are it. Never. He's never gone back on it. So why, in the last 3 seconds of his life, is he going to say Aegon is the one?
I know what I said. And Aegon, yeah, let him. What? There's no reason for her to take it anyway with the ramblings of a drunk, of each female old man that says 1 foot in the grave. I'm about to get in the other.
That wasn't even 1 foot in the grave. The only thing, he was basically just sitting in the grave. He was just sitting up. All the thing he had to do was lay down.
I'm out.
Right, that's it. Just hit the
Back to the
Undertaker, fall back.
Just fall on back. Y'all hold my calls. I'm good. Like, come on, what more the man can do? Did you see that? You saw that walk? Took a lot out of him.
Took everything out of him.
Hey, man.
If it wasn't for Damon, he wasn't making it up those stairs.
At least he got to see his family together.
He did.
One time.
I am glad about that. I really feel like that was the only time that I've seen, like, the actresses that play Rhaenyra and Allison. I think that's the only time that I've seen them smile, like, as their adult versions of themselves. Like, there's not been a happy moment since they were like young kids. Other than that, it's just been just anger and bitterness and bickering and fighting and going back and forth. It's like the only time I've seen, well, Rhaenyra smiled when she had Joffrey. I think that was about it.
And guess what? There's more to come, because the king is. Let's just go ahead and call DOA. Yeah, he's dead.
Well, I mean, he's dead. He took his last breath. He's dead.
Last a good king. I mean, well, the truth of the matter is, if you come back and fast forward again, there's no reason for him to be alive at this point. He's literally just a skeleton talking like, bring me more milk of the poppy, because that stuff, if it can keep you alive that long, god damn.
At that point, if they do another time jump, he's not gonna have any skin around his mouth. He's gonna be like the mummy. It's trying to drink something that's gonna fall straight through.
Now that would be funny if he was wrapped in bandages. Like, he's just all in bandages and they got some type of glasses over him.
Oh my god.
Like, the sores, they hurt.
Fucking weekend at Bernie's ass, just have him propped up.
Exactly. He's like, just kill me, dude. Just the writers need to let him go. Like I said, get another week off.
I am surprised that he lasted this long.
You done killed a man episode 1. He just had a little small cut on his finger.
No, once he lost his arm, I was like, he done for.
And he survived like 3 more episodes.
He survived like 4 more after that. To be honest, he was rolling with one arm for a while
till he died. Long live the king till he died. Hey, did they have a dragon in this last episode?
There may have not. No,
Told
there was
you.
not.
Say this earlier when we started the show. It all comes full circle, ladies and gentlemen. You just got to pay attention. What? I did. I said there was no dragons. I said there were no dragons. You could rewind it and listen to it.
What you said?
It's in there. I said there were no dragons.
You said in the show, which that's not the case.
What do you mean? There's no dragons in this episode.
But this episode does not make the entire show.
Well, I mean that's the entire series. Come on, there's House of the Dragons. You expect not to see dragons in there?
Okay.
I just want to know there's no dragons in this episode.
Okay.
This guy is technical. To a T. You spell technical with a T, don't you?
As opposed to...
Oh, I spell it the same way, so I don't know.
I'd like to know what the alternate spelling of technical would be.
Somebody's going to leave that in the comments, and that's just for you. I want you to know that.
But to wrap up this episode, episode 7 and 8 of Game of Thrones, House of the Dragon, is it super?
Listen, I'm gonna go ahead and tell you guys honest truth. I'm here for it because I'm a Thrones guy, so I'm a Dragons guy, and I think it's incredible how they're managing to juggle all of these storylines, all of these plot points, and you get to see the scheming and the manipulation. And just when you thought they were peace, it's not, because you done deeply seated this hatred towards each other in the show, and we got to watch it play out. And can they reel it back in? Can we make them get in line and understand tradition? Because those who are young are now older and value tradition and value legacy and value these things. But the young ones, as young ones do, don't give a shit about none of that. They want to do what they want to do. And you have to deal with that on a grand scale of, you see Rhaenyra talking to her kids about legacy, about tradition. And yes, the answer to the question is super, but I'm telling you why it is. Because you're balancing these storylines and you're balancing these dynamics. And by the way, that guy got killed. So now what do we do? Because that affects this and this and affects that. And it's cleverly done. Listen, somebody was paying attention in class and they understood the assignment. And this is the product of that. It's great writing. And by the way, there's dragons in this series, not in this episode. For those who like dragons, but there's so much more than dragons. It's we didn't even talk about that, by the way. Damon found 3 more eggs, so apparently he knew the hot spot because he went right in that lava and grabbed them on out of there.
He went. You remember back in what was that episode 2? He went and stole a dragon egg. So
he stole that one. These he got out the streets of the volcano.
I mean, he's ready.
Is that what we're doing? Dragons just lay eggs and cover them with lava?
I don't know. I don't know how dragons work. I'm not the dragon expert.
Save the dragons.
Save the dragons. Hashtag save the dragons.
Full circle.
But let us know what you think about the latest episodes of Game of Thrones, House of the Dragon. Leave us a comment. Let us know your thoughts. Let us know what your thoughts about this episode. What do you think about our takes?
Wait a minute. You just gonna do that to the people?
Dude,
you're not gonna tell them, hey, last time we had this conversation, you said we stay true to the show. This is the ATS show. Is it all things super show? So do we have to hit the requirement? You asked me, and you're not going to allow me to ask you, Spider, is Game of Thrones, House of the Dragons, HBO, episode 6 and 7?
7 and 8.
5, 7 and 8. That's what I was going to say.
Going way back.
Well, these 7 and 8. Is it super in your opinion? Is it super? I mean, people want to know what you think.
I've been thinking for the last 2 hours.
Oh, well, you just say yeah and then say bye.
So yes, absolutely. No, but in all seriousness, yes.
Bye.
No, in all seriousness, yes, absolutely. These episodes continue to be super. Like I said, we've been talking about it for at length. But no,
It's the
I
conversation.
appreciate like I've been mentioning, one of the greatest things that I appreciate about this show is just the nonverbal scenes that we have, the reaction shots, the visuals that we see where Aemon and Aegon are watching when Vaemon's head gets cut off. The looks that Rhaenys is given as they're, preparing Vaemon's body to be, sent back to Driftmark. Viserys's looks as he's looking back between Rhaenyra and Alicent as they're sitting at dinner. The actual joy on the face of the children, but the face of Rhaenyra's children, not Allison's kids. Just that still, again, like that line in the sand is still there. We see just that comparison, that contrast, but just those nonverbal looks. That is one of my favorite things about the show. If you go back to anybody who's listening to this, you go back, if it's something that you haven't been paying attention to, go back and just kind of look at the episodes and just not necessarily paying attention to what's being said, but just the reactions, the looks. Daemon is the king. If he's not the king of anything else, he's the king of serving looks, because he's gonna stand, he's gonna lean in the background, and he's gonna look, and he's gonna survey, and he's going to oversee exactly what's going on. Like we said before, he's calculating, he's very methodical, he's going to wait until it's the very right time to strike. And it's just, that's one of my favorite parts about this entire series so far. And absolutely, yes, it's super. Every episode is super. This is a great show. And if you haven't been watching it, if you sat here listening to us for 2 hours talking about these 2 episodes and you still haven't watched House of the Dragon, first of all, yes, thank you. But second of all, go watch House of the Dragon. If you don't have HBO Max subscription, go find somebody, go borrow somebody's password, something.
Oh my God.
It's
what is
just
right
that
now?
Good of a show for you to go and watch.
Isn't it interesting that in the last episode, Daemon laughed when they talked about the kids at the funeral? He laughed when he was, and now he's protecting them.
Right. I think it was because he was laughing at how you were taking the opportunity at your niece's funeral to make this proclamation about the strength of bloodlines and pure bloods and how Valyrian blood runs pure and all this other kind of stuff. And it's like, you want to choose now to make this stance, to proclaim this now.
You don't think he was being petty? Like, shit, they're not.
No. I don't think he was laughing at the kids. I think he was laughing at the audacity of Vaemon of making that proclamation at this time. That's what I think.
Think he held on to that, and part of the reason why.
Possibly. It's quite possible. That is quite possible.
That dude petty. Let these people go home.
we know that he's petty. But anyway, let us know what you thought about the episode. Let us know what you're thinking about House of the Dragon. Leave us a comment below. But don't forget, if you like this video, go ahead, click on the like button, subscribe to the channel, hit the bell so you can be notified when we have new episodes that come out. If you want the audio podcast, you can find us on all your major podcast streaming services. Just search for All Things Super. And if you want to join in on the conversation, you can tweet at us at ATSuperPod.
And we like reading the comments. It's a conversation. This is a conversation show. It's unscripted and it's live and it goes. It's not live. It's live for us. Are you feeling alive right now?
I am feeling exhausted right now.
I would hate this. I would hate it to be the Valeria show where we're dead, just talking about, hey, super, man. It's so super. And we're zombified.
One eye.
Hey,
one arm.
It's A-OK.
But until next time, thank you all for joining us, and we'll see you in the next episode.